Well, welcome everybody. Joining me here in the booth, I have our two recently new world champions, Bruna Kajiya and Maxime Chabloz. Congratulations, guys. And also joining me here, we have a past ex-world champion, Youri Zoon. We're going to have a little chit-chat, see how they feel and what is next. Going to be starting off with Youri. Youri, you know exactly how these guys are feeling. You've been there. How nice is that moment?
I mean, yeah, it is. It is basically the crown on all your hard work, and and maybe it sounds cliche, but when you were, when you started as a little kid, you had this little dream, and you trained basically day and night for it, and then eventually, after a year of hard work, you win that world title, and it's kind of like the ultimate reward for me. For me, it was, and the pursuit of another one. Yeah, and in the end, that's something you work so hard for, and then it all comes down to that competition where they crown you, and you can call yourself a world champ. So yeah, I mean, what's your feeling about it? I mean,
No, yeah, I agree with Yuri. I think like working towards a goal and being able to achieve it, I think that's like something that not many people get to feel it, and it's so rewarding, you know? I feel like that gives you purpose in life, and winning a world title. I always say it's like a chemistry formula. Like there's so little elements to it that need to click. So you're healthy, the competition's like we have wind, the gear works, Mars is aligned with this, the tide. There's so many things that when it actually like comes together, it's almost like magic. You're like, and I think like Max can tell you this because yesterday when he was winning, I like after like the whole year it came true, and I told him like I was tracking his scores. I'm like, dude, you're world champion. He couldn't believe it. I was like, look.
we saw it on the live stream. It didn't land, and I was like,
We just see the face.
You're world champion. Come on.
How was that, man?
Yeah, it was extremely hard to believe for sure. But I mean, I think the journey just made it so special. And I feel so grateful, and like now I basically achieved my life goal, which was to win the skiing world title and the kiting world title. But I always thought that the kiting world title would come first, and then the skiing world title came my first year in the Freeride World Tour. And through this, I got both experiences. One, winning on the first year, no expectations, nothing, just everything just lined up, and I was just there having fun, trying to gain experience, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I was world champion. There wasn't this little 8-year-old kid in my mind dreaming of winning the Verbi Extreme or winning the Freeride World Tour, and I wouldn't say that it took beauty away from it, but I would say that this is what made winning the title yesterday so special to me, is that I was 7 or 8 years old when I discovered kiting, and it was my first dream was to become like the best kiter in the world, and I achieved that yesterday after so many defeats, so much hard work, training, pain, and everything. And I feel like the longer the journey to get to it, the sweeter the victory is in the end. And I feel, although for so many years I was thinking, oh God, I got so close to the title. I got last year I was in the title fight. 2 years ago, I was fourth like 3 years in a row, like getting this close every single time. But now I just am so happy, grateful for these moments, because it just made yesterday so much more special.
So, what do you think changed? What made this year special to click? We saw, for example, in Brazil in Kawipe, where you got the win, we saw a mind change set. I think like to win in Kawipe it's the Mecca. It is the place to do it. It's the pipeline of Hawaii.
The holy grail of kiteboarding, yeah, for freestyle.
Exactly. I think, to be able to win there, did that give you the confidence and go, if I've won here where every single top athlete is and the conditions are perfect, this is where it all happens? Was that a factor?
So I think I started off pretty strong in my kiting career. I mean, when I when I started competing on the tour, I was 15 and I was already starting. Well, I was battling with Youri at the time, and I started to like really. I think I got a third place in Turkey in my first year competing at the pro level, and I started off pretty strong, but then never. Yeah, I was always like quite a lot of pressure and a little bit in a rush to get to the top or whatnot. And I think so 2019 I started the year really well, and then I got a big upset like middle of the year. Just something went wrong. I got a little injury just before a competition, and it just like not everything seemed to like not work anymore. And then came 2020 with COVID, where we only had one event. And to me, it felt like that was my year. I won the distance battle that year. I won the Ilha de Guajiro event, which was the only event. But I was also one of the riders pushing, saying, I don't feel like a one event world championship is correct. I had Youri in my mind. I was thinking Youri won 2 titles, shredding the whole year, having to comp after comp and being consistent, and this is the work of a world title, at least in kiting. It's like about performing on different conditions, different spots throughout the year, and not just rocking up and winning one event. And I won this event and I was extremely stoked to win, but it really didn't feel like a world title. So I really felt like this was the right decision to not give out a title that year. But then came 2021. I don't really remember what I did there, but I remember it being really difficult, really tough, struggling. And then 2022, again, getting really close, but not really. 2023, last year, being in the title fight, coming here, not having win, not being able to express myself and showing what I could do. And I never gave up, but I was thinking, hell, like, how long am I gonna have to keep showing up and keep digging and keep...
How long is this journey?
Yeah, how long is this journey? And like, you start questioning when you get like, 15-year-old spin flugel coming up and starting to shred, and you're just like, oh my God, I don't know if maybe this is it. And but yeah, and then this year end of last year I started to work with a mental coach after the Brazil event last year, where my mindset was just completely wrong. It was on the flip side of what you need. I was so scared to lose, so I didn't want to be there. I was hoping for there to not be wind, or I was hoping for the others to crash, and like really didn't feel like I could do it. And then now 1 year later, I'm here. So it really was a big step in my life to take this decision to start working on my mental game and then being able to perform.
Congratulations, you've made it, mate. Bruna, obviously special moment for you as well, because you are 5 times world champion. Is that the goal? What's next?
I think the goal is always to keep pushing. And for me, it's not so much of like how many world titles I have, but for me, it's like, how can I keep inspiring people, and how can I keep showing new things and opening people's minds, you know? Like now, like I'm sure a lot of people didn't think that this was possible. Like they question themselves, like how? Like so many people come to me, like, how do you keep motivated? How is your body still working? How do you still like travel around? Do you still want, you know, like there's many hows in people's minds. And I think a lot of those hows are reasons why people stopped or why they didn't go forward. And I think by showing like with passion, dedication, hard work, and a good mindset, like how far you can go. So I don't want to say, 5 is my goal, but for me, it just means so much to be able to do this, especially as a woman, like to inspire. I get so many little young adults like excited about this. And for me, I just sent a message to Max Bloom, from Mystic. Like he said, oh, it's so amazing that we get to share this journey, you know, like from the beginning till now. And when I met Max, like you too, like we were so young, he was so young. And like I got to think now when I message him back, like it's a pleasure for me that we get to share this, but now your baby grows, he has like daughters. They get to see this journey and this life, and they can have an example to reach further to whatever they choose to do in life, you know?
Yeah, because your professional career is so long already, and your world titles has been over a big range in different scenarios with a lot of different riders. Because you're the only one right now that is still there.
Yeah.
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 So it's super impressive that you've been there. I think your first competition was 2003, Brazil.
Oh, yeah, you're so much about that. You always like
Because
tell me.
that was my. I think it was yours as well.
I remember Bruna turning up at Super Kite in Beach Park.
Beach Park,
with
Brazil,
her
yeah.
Nash and the blackboard with flames. And it was
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
who
I
is
love that
this
graphic.
girl?
That's 2003. So that was your first World Cup. So
Yeah.
we're talking 2024 right now. It's
Yeah.
21 years later.
And
So
you
that is
know,
impressive.
thank you. And you know that it's really cool that you said that you pointed out that I was thinking the other day. It's like I've been throughout my work titles. I've lived so many different scenarios. Like I
Cycles.
had so many different challenges at the time. Not only competitors, but personal organizations, and we lived through a
So
lot.
many things. Yeah.
Ups and downs.
So it means a lot to me that I keep getting to reinvent myself and learn new ways to deal with problems. And problem solving is one of the things that I love the most. And yeah, it feels really cool.
But I mean, this year as well, it's been, you won every single competition.
Yeah.
Every single stop has been, well, every single heat has been basically spot on, and it seems like a textbook. Was that your mindset as well? Like, okay, I want to do this right, and this is the way to win it.
Yeah, that was. It's funny. Like I can tell you're a competitor. Like you have a competition mindset.
Yeah.
No one asked me this, and it was really clear throughout the year. And that's exactly my goal. Like that's exactly it. You pinpointed. I was like, you know, I've lived through a lot, and it's always like stressful, and you don't know if you're gonna make it, and and like this year I was like, no, I want this to be clean, like from start to finish. Like perfect. I want this word title to be
That
like
worked out.
She's actually got the right formula.
Yeah.
well, and everything else aligns, obviously, like everything. But yes, that's like so accurate.
But I think Maxime, I mean, I've watched 2 events like on the live stream as well. Brazil, I watched from home, but it seemed like you had a little bit of a similar strategy as well, because we could literally, we were sitting in the live stream booth and we could tell like, okay, I could write it down almost like, okay, this is gonna be this, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be this. With you, the same thing. It's like, okay, she's gonna open with that, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. Okay, that's gonna be the next one, and it kind of, most of the times we were right actually. So it seems like it's the right formula here.
I mean, you kind of, it's kind of what you need to compete, and it's kind of how competition works. I think we are both riders that have a huge repertoire in tricks.
Yeah.
There is riders out there that literally know how to do 4 tricks. Yeah. But us two, I would say we're 2 that have a huge repertoire, but that for competition is not always just beneficial, because sometimes, for example, Brazil last year, I remember having way too many options, but none of those options were 100%. With the new format and all that, we spent like almost 2 months before the comp in Brazil, and we started to like try new tricks and all that. And comp day, I didn't have 4 safe tricks. I had 20, 50% tricks, and that's what put so much doubt in my head. Like I was doing the heat, I was like, okay, so should I do a KG7, a Slim 7, or a, and like I didn't know what to do. And this year I was like, you know what? This year, 3 competitions, 4 tricks in each competition. Of course, I could still choose, because, for example, here yesterday, for me personally, it was much better to jump to the left than to the right, because you had the sun in your face. It was not that nice, and I was happy that I was able to do at least 3 out of my 4 tricks to the left. And also there's spots where it's better to the right or better to the left, and it's good to choose from your repertoire. But if, for example, in Brazil this year, I still went to Brazil for 2 months, and I was there 1 month and some days before the competition. But since day one I arrived there, I said, I need to do my 4 tricks, my comp tricks, and really focus on getting those 4 tricks and only having those 4 tricks in mind and making sure that I
So almost less is more.
less. I mean,
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, but like not
You just
necessarily
need to-
because what he said, it's accurate. Like we have a lot of tricks, and I feel like apart from these 4 tricks that I do, I have like so many more where I'm 100%. So then you get to choose, like in a place like this, for instance. Like most riders don't have that many tricks, but it's like light wind.
Yeah.
So you get to adapt. In a normal day, I would have done KGB, I would have done like different tricks as small fives. But then you get to a light wind spot, you gotta adapt the tricks you have, or dunkek, where it's choppy. Like I feel like I actually have a huge amount of tricks that I'm like confident, and depending where I go, I'll pick and choose them. Like
I have
so
the same.
I don't think
So
that, like,
the feeling I have is that if I go to train in Greece beginning of the season, I will practice or try new tricks or do all my repertoire of tricks. What I meant is like right there, going to Brazil, knowing the comp is in 1 month
Right,
in
yeah,
Brazil
okay.
on that spot.
You zone
I
it.
knew I had to focus on the 4 tricks that I could do the
Yeah,
best.
so
in
you
those
kind of
divisions that day.
target it
And
as
not-
per competition.
because if you look like Max, like with the man, he's one of the people with the most amount of tricks in the bag, like different grabs.
Yeah.
Like you have a ridiculous amount of repertoire. So
And
I think it's not fair to say that you
With-
don't.
No. I didn't say that I don't. I didn't say that I just
You
said
choose the
in
according to what you
Brazil
have.
on that spot.
Right,
It's like
Yeah.
Okay.
it's like when every time I travel to a competition, usually 2 or 3 days before, hoping to have at least 1 day of wind before the competition, you kind of go out and you know
Yeah.
which 4 tricks are gonna work,
Right,
and then you just focus on this
On those.
and you have your heat.
Yeah.
I did the same last year when we had, was it last year Colombia?
No, the year
2 years
before.
ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago. 2 years ago in Colombia, the competition was in the middle of my skiing
No,
season.
we did have Colombia last year.
It was last
Yeah,
year.
yeah. This year we didn't have. Last
So,
year we did. Yeah.
Last season. Yeah.
Last season there was this Colombia event, middle of my skiing season. Fortunately enough, it was after my 3 first like events where you kind of need to requalify for the next year. So I kind of could get the requalification done and then go for the kite event and then come back for the finals. But I basically hadn't touched a kite for two months. And then I traveled to Colombia and I get there 5 days before the comp. And I remember like first day I rest from the travel, second day had a session and instantly realized, okay, I can do this trick, and that trick. And then just focus on these 4 tricks, 1 session that day. Next day rest, another session the next day. Those 4 tricks.
That's it.
Next day rest, and then was the comp. And I just focused on those
Yeah.
4 tricks. But I was lucky enough to have this massive repertoire of tricks
where you can pick
where
from.
I could pick
Yeah.
better
Right,
left
yeah,
foot,
the
better
condition.
right foot, no. And then I ended up second.
Not like
No,
always.
like
You
always.
say. That's the old you.
Second, just short of the win. Although I had like almost no preparation, but I feel like the preparation I had was short, but it was really like the right one and the perfect one. So
Yeah, and I think like that's something I learned through the years. Like we'll go to the spot and it's a spot that, but it's so bad left foot forward. And yet you don't have enough tricks that you can like skip the left foot forward and just stay one side. So that's something that I also work. Like if I need to do a whole heat only going right foot forward, I have enough tricks for that.
Yeah.
You know, and that used to stress me a lot. Like, okay, all of these ones are good, but there's like choppy, like, you know, you're gonna land on a wave. I'm worried that I'm gonna land on a wave. So yeah, I think that makes a big difference too.
But I think those kind of things, what you two are saying, obviously you have a lot more experience. I mean, you have more years on tour than Max as well. You've been growing into it, but those kind of things you don't know. You just learn over the years,
Yeah.
right?
Comes with time.
And I think once what I always see is like sometimes you see these kids and they're so incredibly good, but once you get on tour the first year, it's kind of like, yeah, he's good, but he's not getting there. But then as soon you see them growing throughout the years, and then eventually, you know, you you have the experience, what you discovered as well, and then
There is so many things that people can tell you a million times, but you won't learn until
Yeah.
you experience it. And competition is just different than normal riding, and it's like this in every single sport, and it's just how it is, and that's what kind of keeps the beauty of competing. I mean, we are not doing the best tricks of our lives in competition. We're doing them in Greece when we're in perfect conditions on the day that we want.
wow, we've seen some good tricks, yeah.
For sure, but you haven't seen it all.
Cool.
Oh, spoiler! What's out?
Spoiler for next year, one.
I think also an important fact, like I was reading a passage not so long ago, and it's not the destination or the journey, it is also the company. And I see, especially with the two of you, you guys have your crew, you have your people at the events that, you know, push you or take you to a
We
next
are
level.
our crew.
Exactly,
We're our
exactly.
biggest supporters. Like, I think this helped us both this year. You know, like.
I'm sure, and I thought that yesterday, like watching Bruna in the final, like I think she's for sure one of the biggest inspirations, and like I remember when we kind of met and became friends, she was struggling in competition, and she was going through a pretty hard phase, and I remember trying to help her on the beach, like with the scores and trying to calculate and get a feel, and then suddenly she managed to just like turn it around and make it back to being completely dominant, and now just being able to go out there, do her thing, and be on top of everyone else, and that's something that I have massive respect of, and it's just amazing, honestly. And I think it's been for the past 2 or 3 years, and I feel like when you get a result in a competition, then and the girl that gets the same result, it's kind of cool, you know. It's kind of like a team, and I haven't been able to be on the first place team with Bruna. And this year, finally, I made it, and it made the special really.
And it's really cool because we're like literally like our best friends in the tour. Like we're helping each other all the time. And for me, that makes such a big difference because I'm speaking to someone that is like-minded. Like I will say something about a comp or a trick. He gets it straight away, and it's the same way around. So you get to bounce out like concepts and ideas, and even like just get inspired by each other, you know. And when I know I come to the beach, like I have 100% full confidence that whatever it is, he knows exactly that what's gonna happen, and I'm the same for him. So I think
It's
that's
good to have
really
somebody
cool.
you can trust and on the
Yeah.
beach, and that you talk a little bit. Okay, what should I do? Maybe should do this or that.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we don't even bounce that way.
No.
Like we're like not like trying to understand what to do, but
so you
Support is support.
we support and we get each other. Like, and at this point we know how each other compete. Like if he will come to me, it's funny, but it's like how it is. Like if he comes and he's like, should I do that? Then I will like feel like I can maybe make a suggestions. But sometimes he comes, he looks at me and he goes, back most time. I'm like, yes. And I know the tone I have to give to him. So he's like confident that that's the decision. Although maybe sometimes I was thinking something else, but I know if he has that look,
It's what
he's
he
gonna go.
needs. Yeah.
And I think that you develop with time, and that kind of like person close to you, it doesn't happen overnight.
No,
it like
absolutely
takes time to develop. Yeah.
So in the semi-final, you came and said backmo 7, and she said yes. That was the moment to do it.
because I mean that back mob 7 twice. You had us at the point of the chair. We're sitting there. I'm like, it's almost open. And then the last moment you pull off the back mob 7. But then in the final, that was a defining moment. I don't know if you noticed that as well. Because Arthur was in a little bit of a lead, and then you pull that back mob 7, and that just like
With no wind,
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
knows how he did
it completely changed everything.
Yeah, so the back move 7 in the semi-final was a bit of a like I hadn't made the semi-finals already, so it was. I mean, I really wanted to do it just to get the confidence boost for the final, and I knew. I know it's a trick. I can do it very consistent, and it's gonna score really well. And when I landed it in the semi-final and I beat Timo, I was like, oh good, so I don't have to change lycra. Do my same color, and it was actually I was wearing Bruno's lycra the during the whole competition.
There
She
you
came
go.
off, won the competition, and I took her like her.
Good.
And it also made me jump last.
Yeah,
in the final,
that's-
which was pretty. I mean, in the final, usually there's not much calculation to do, but for sure I wanted to jump after Arthur. And be
Still,
able
it's a
to
bit of an
yeah,
advantage that you
A little
have.
bit, yeah.
in case. But then yeah, in the final I crashed the first back move 7 attempt in the final. No?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
I'm not sure.
It's unusual for you to crash your back no 7, so you make her life hard.
But I thought I crashed the first
No,
one.
I don't
tried
think
it.
so.
Was it maybe was it a half cap? No, you started with a half cap.
Started half.
He started with a half cap. He didn't do his usual back move.
No, no.
Yeah, the final made no sense.
I don't know why. I don't know why in my head. In my head, I have the memory of crashing a back move 7 and then landing it in the final. But that was in the semi.
It was in the semis.
But I was well. Never mind. I did the double half cap no. Then I crashed a slim 7.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the one I crashed.
The guy was like, yeah.
Guy was I.
Felt kite was too high. Felt quite a lot of fatigue already after doing 2 heats and the semi-final being pretty intense. And then the back move 7, I remember taking off and having the same feeling as the back move 7 I crashed
Okay.
in the semi-final. And I was just like, oh no, here we go again. And I just kind of got my body back in the right position, turned around, my board touched the water and I was there. I was like, yes, I did it. And I knew, at this moment, I didn't know that I won the title, but I knew that I was one step ahead.
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah, because Arthur crashed. I think Arthur crashed that one as well, and you
Yeah.
had 2 crashes.
but
well.
before that, I knew that I was one step back.
Yeah.
I knew
Okay.
that he had 2 overall bigger scores than me, but also when I came back to Bruna and Nina on the beach, I didn't ask them. I didn't ask them how many points am I
Okay.
behind Arthur or whatever. I knew, do the back move 7. I knew I had it just as consistent as any other big tricks that I needed, and I knew I needed a good trick. And then I landed it, and I was like, wait, yes.
Yeah.
let's go.
We could see the smile from here.
Yeah,
You could see
yeah,
body
yeah,
language
yeah,
in the back.
And there's nothing quite like it, huh? When you're like in that situation and you land a trick you need, what you feel is just
Yeah.
like a mix of
But
like
even-
hell yeah, but like
Even the Slim 7 before that, like the one I crashed actually got a really nice gust, and I mean the conditions were extremely light
Yeah.
in the final and in my semi-final, and there were just some gusts around, but nothing really good. And with our new format with the timer, you kind of, even if you don't feel the perfect wind, you kind of have to go for it. And so when I landed the second Slim 7, although it was probably one of the worst Slim 7s I've ever done, I was super stoked, and I was just like, yes,
yeah,
you landed
sure.
it now.
Yeah.
Now you can
The motivation was
keep
there.
going. And then I saw Arthur crash a lot, and I was like, okay, let me do the Chrome 5. If I feel it good, I might combo it
Yeah.
out. But as I landed the Chrome 5, I just had this little voice inside of me like,
Don't do
stop,
it. Yeah.
just keep it like that. And
That-
Maybe that was you from the beach.
Yeah.
but I did see he landed with like no, he said if I land with speed I'm gonna go. He landed, I was like, you have no speed.
Stop. Pause.
But it's funny because like these little voice, I have it too, but it's like a little voice that come in like a split second, like it
Yeah.
cannot be conscious.
Instinct.
no,
It's like pure instinct. Like I'll be doing something, I'm like, oh, that's not gonna do this, you know. And I don't know where it comes from, but it's there. Like it's real. Yeah.
And then obviously then I saw Arthur crash his next trick, and actually as soon as he crashed it, we knew that I won, but I already like went to do my next trick. I didn't know that it was already.
I think it like in
official.
the 5th attempt or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
it's
Outcome of my
definitely
attempt
it was.
6th or
So
something
when
like
Arthur crashed his 6th attempt, when Arthur crashed his 6th attempt, that's when. But I didn't know at that moment.
I was a little bit before you. I was sitting here. Joe was at the beach, and I was like looking at the scores, and I'm not that great at math, so I was just like, I'm like, dude, you got it, come on, you got it. And then you started talking to him, and he was just standing there like, I'm like, dude, you got it, hey, come on. He's like,
The way it felt kind of strange is because Arthur was the first to jump
Yeah.
in the final, and
Yeah.
I was the last. So in between us, it seemed like there was, I don't know how to explain it, but it seemed like there was a round of tricks that separated us, but actually no, I
It's the
still
same.
had 2 attempts,
Yeah.
and he only had 1 attempt
Yeah.
left. And I get back to the beach and they're like, you won. And at this moment, yeah, I had a shot at winning the comp, but I was just like, so the emotion started to flow in, and yeah, I don't know, I hadn't, also in a way I had no idea what I needed. I hadn't looked at Finn the whole heat, or if anything I was looking at his tricks just to see once he was done with his
Yeah.
trick, and I knew it was my turn. I just had like no, my eyes were just on Artur,
Yeah.
and I was trying to even like almost play mental games. I was like trying to just, when I would cross him, I would just like kind of look at him and not.
That Back Mob 7 that played a big
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Sure.
Yes. That was a statement.
I was really like, okay, the fight now is with Artur, and whether I'm first, second, or third, it
Doesn't matter.
really doesn't matter. Like, it really didn't. And so yeah, then the last trick, I had an okay gust. Maybe I could have done something better, but
It was funny when I told him this, like the look on his eyes was like something that I felt that before. I felt that before, but I didn't know how he looked. Like it's like I had it in Brazil last year when like on the final I won the event, but it was so tight and I needed some. And when it happened, you're so focused, you're like in such a place like this, and it happens, and then like you can relax. And then for a moment, it's like you're lost for a second and it's buzzing and you're like, but you know, it takes a moment to change channels. And I saw something I felt. I was like, oh, that's how I must have looked. Like,
There
but that
it is.
happened, yeah. I know that look.
Was that yesterday for you? Was that your only goal, or were you like, I want to win this event as well?
Oh, yeah, I came to win. To be
Okay.
honest, like, I didn't do any math. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, you have, did you do the math? I never do math.
Yeah.
Like, I always go to the event with intent to win. And then for me, I don't really believe in, like, oh, I just need to be in front. But no, I want to, like, take it,
Yeah.
you know?
You come to
So-
show what you got, and
Yes, but I was extremely cautious. Like if you look at my heats yesterday,
Yeah.
like I usually ride much more aggressively, but
Yeah.
that was so like the wind was so light. Usually I'm like the girls are in 11s, always on 13s. So I was on my 13 and I was struggling.
Yeah, we
like,
could see.
I was struggling at points where I'm like, come on, just a little puff, like there's a little puff. So I was super cautious. I was like, I came here for a job. I don't want to show off, you know,
No, I
like
mean-
I don't want to like be showing. Oh look, this is all the tricks. No, the tricks need to serve a purpose, which is to win this heat
yeah,
and secure this.
of course.
And then once I knew, like I was so focused. He also told me, he's like, but you combo them already. Because he said something, do this. I'm like, no, dude, like, I'm gonna get this trick better. Like, I want to risk it. He's like, yeah, what did you say? Like, do it from blind
I
mode.
said you comboed though already.
And then he said, you already combo them. You already won. I was like, okay. So let me risk this one. Like, let me try something different. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think it's really important as well, the thing we saw with both of you guys out there on the water from the booth and on the beach is you could see, of course, there were moments of stress, but you were enjoying the moment. And you know about the company, you can see the family vibe both of you have on side and off of the water. It's the achieving that goal, it projects outside. It's just so cool to see.
And you know, it's so cool that you said that because I mentioned it to Nina in Brazil. Like when he won, I was like, this is such an individual sport and the feelings you feel are so unique, but so individual. And the way we're doing it brings this joy of being happy for someone else, like extremely happy for someone else. And that's like a different type of joy and a different type of achievement. And it's beautiful because then you combine. I feel like that's what people feel on team sports. When you want
you win
something,
together.
you do it together. And when you do it together, it has a different like taste to it, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you can see. So, what's next? What is what about off time? You guys have a little bit of off season now, a little bit of holiday. I know, for example, Bruna, you've just bought a house in Portugal, spending a lot of time now. You're also an auntie, so obligations over there with the family. what's the next steps after this?
Well, after this, I go to Brazil to see the family. There's a new baby in the family, so we're all like, going around the baby in love. But after that, I go to Portugal. I just, my boyfriend and I, we bought a house there, and we've been enjoying it a lot. And I think for me, the off time in Portugal is so important because it's the right opposite of what I live on tour. There for me, it's like introspection. It's cold. I do a lot of surfing. I'm getting into big wave surfing. So throughout the winter, I've been training some of that. Last year, I did my first like little dip in Nazare to took a wave or so. So this year, it's something that scares me a lot.
Oh.
No, big waves. But like big waves in general, they scare me a lot. So
I think they scare a lot
I
of
think
people.
it's a general thing. Just just the boyfriend is the one that doesn't care about that.
yeah, my boyfriend is like the right opposite of it, which for me is quite interesting because I try to understand his mindset. So this winter I tend to do that. Like it's cold, so it's a lot more like training and then indoors, and it's kind of for me a preparation for then the life on tour, which is like full explosion. It's very like hectic outdoors and a lot going on. So I love Portugal because of this. It's like the little like cocoon time for the flower to then bloom. So I'm looking forward to it now. Can't wait for the cold, which is weird. But
Yeah, no, I mean Portugal, it's a beautiful location and also a nice crew, a lot of people. It's definitely becoming a place, and I think it must be also nice to have a spot because traveling so much, let's say living out of a bag, sometimes even if you go to your house for a couple of days, but it is your fridge, your sofa, your bed, at least for me, for example, it's so important.
And it's funny because it's not something you can quantify with like a financial brain. You're like, it doesn't make sense because I'm always traveling. Why would I like, invest so much? The house gonna whatever. But then once you get it, you're like,
So worth it.
these 3 days that I had in my house, like
Yeah,
it's so worth it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I'm loving it. Yeah. We just got a sauna, by the way.
Everybody.
James just sent me a photo. He's like, the winter's gonna be good. We got like a sauna for the house.
You've already got the ice bath, which is Nazare.
Yeah.
And then you have the
Sauna.
sauna.
I'll always remember a story Youri told us once that he went to buy a bed and the girl asked what kind of bed he was looking for and he said, well, I sleep in a lot of beds, so I don't really
Yeah.
have a bit of a wrong idea.
They were like, no, I travel a lot.
Did you get a mattress or a number?
Yeah.
But it took me a second to get the joke. I was like, but what? Now I get it.
No, the best thing is when I was traveling a lot, and every time, every day you basically eat in a different restaurant. When you're on tour, it's always a restaurant or you have an apartment. And then every time when you go back home, my mom was like, "Oh, what do you want to eat?" Like, "Mom, I don't care. Just make me something." Because it's just, you feel like you're coming home and it's so, it's your family. So it's the most important.
I usually ask for a fondue when I get home.
Nice.
Really?
Oh, shoot.
Ah.
Max, I mean, let me guess. Some skiing over the winter?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, going home now. I have one good month before the first freeride world tour stop. But I'm super excited. Like for sure, gonna spend Christmas with my family and enjoy that. But I just get bored as well. If I just had to go home and ski for myself or whatever, it would kind of not have the same thrill. So. It's not really gonna be holidays, but in a way it's just something different, and I do a discipline it's just fun. Like freeride skiing, it's about, people ask me, how do you train? And I go ski.
I ski.
Yeah.
I just go up the mountain and ski wherever I want, however I want, and that's kind of the training I do and the winter season I have. And this year is gonna be pretty intense. 6 events in 3 months, so. Quite a bit of traveling and all of that, but I can't wait for it and hopefully some good powder win.
Nice. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, good, mate. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us in here. I think there's some really cool little talks on the ins and outs of the World Champions, and hope everybody enjoyed it back home, and look forward to seeing you guys very soon off of the season.
Peace.
Thank you guys.
I have
See ya.
to show a picture first before we wrap it up.
Well, here we go.
Because this is where the Maxime Chabloz World Champion dream started.
Look at that.
There we go. Oh, there's a picture.
Oh, that is so cute.
I remember that one. Silver Plata.
I'm gonna take this close to the camera, guys.
That is so cool. I forgot he had long hair like this.
Oh man, that's so cute.
It's Maxime
Oh.
and a very young Youri. That is awesome.
That's a perfect finishing.
My mom sent me to it this morning.